My name is Sheldon Zeiger. I wrote a book called The I Inside Personal Finance. The foundation of that idea comes from the Perennial Philosophy, one of the more misunderstood ideas in spirituality. Is also referred to as the perennial wisdom, non-dual awareness, no boundary awareness. It's a school of thought in philosophy and spirituality that maintains that the recurrence of common themes across world religions illuminates universal truths about the nature of reality, humanity, ethics, and consciousness. And there's no agreed upon definitions here. It's each perennialist looks at the perennial philosophy a little bit differently. There's common themes in religion and mystical traditions. What is the origin of the perennial philosophy? As early as 80 BC, Cicero talked about universal religion. But when he did so, in 80 BC, he was referring to the ancients, the ancient ones. And I think who he was referring to was the Hindu Vedas and the Abraham and the Jews and Islam, the Sufi foundation from Persia. What we find is these people believed they were teaching wisdom of the ancients. I think this knowledge is all pre-religion, and it goes back to tribal religion, perhaps 50 or 75,000 years ago. The perennial philosophy is the part of religion that they don't teach you in church or in synagogue. This is the direct connection between you and the divine. I'm talking about things that have to do with a very individual divinity. It also affects you because the great empiricists of the Scottish Enlightenment, who were the fathers of modern science, the fathers of modern economics, psychology, all reflect in one form or another the perennial philosophy. Most of these people, most of these mystics in the history, they were the moral philosophers, teachers, psychologists or psychiatrists, poets, Rumi, Emerson, Walt Whitman, Khalil Gibran, and even economists like E.F. Schumacher, like Mahatma Gandhi, like Robert Fogel or Julian Simon, all discussed the perennial philosophy. Now, what I want to do here and how I want to approach the perennial philosophy is saying this. There are 6 different areas of the perennial philosophy that I feel apply specifically to personal finance and economics and capitalism. And I will deal in separate content here with each one of these because they specifically apply to my book. The first part of the perennial philosophy has to do with the illusion of time, and that time is not real. And what they're really discussing here is that all we have here is the present moment. In Eckhart Tolle, the power of now, and has been reflected in the illusion of time. Second is collapsing subject and object. This is another situation where we believe we are separate from the rest of the world. And when we hear things, we're the hearer or the subject. We're hearing something, and then there's the thing heard. So there's really 3 things, which is the third thing is the object. So subject. So there's the hearer, the thing heard, and what make the noise, the sound. And what we find with the perennial philosophy is it's just the experience of hearing a bell, the sound. Third concept of the perennial philosophy that applies is the idea of necessary opposites. The yin and the yang of personal finance is risk and return. It's also the idea that, necessary opposites are, number, work along a continuum, and it's a circular. You work back to the beginning. And the idea of work and leisure is another application of the idea of necessary opposites. Fourth, the annihilation of the self. And when I say the annihilation of the self, we're not like blowing ourselves up. It's not the annihilation of ourself. It's the annihilation of our ego. And all we're talking about here is something that you do every day when you're at work or in your day. When you concentrate on something, you lose yourself, the psychology of optimal experience. So it's all about how to achieve this annihilation of the self. And these are the most pleasurable experiences in your life. Sometimes when you give to charity, you lose yourself in your concern for others. That is annihilation of the self. Number 5 is impermanence and change, which is an integral part of, Buddha made no illusions about this issue. There are no two moments alike, and each one is endlessly precious. And in personal finance, you need to, and the things change so quickly, and you need to plan for those changes. Sixth idea, and it's very consistent with impermanence, is lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is extremely important when we live in a changing environment. And it also has to do with knowledge creation. The question is not whether the perennial philosophy fits into a capitalist market economy. The question is is how the market economy fits into the world of experience that exists. This perennial philosophy is usually manifested in the mystical traditions of all of our religions, whether it be Kabbalah in Judaism, whether it be Sufi in Islam, whether it be Christian mysticism, obviously Buddhism, Taoism, Zoroastrian, Taoism. The Eastern thought is integrate into the religion itself. But a lot of these religions like to believe or maintain that this is secret information. And you need to be a man of a certain age and of a certain education. And I maintain that that's nonsense. The perennial philosophy and its wisdom is a core of consciousness, much like any other free will or any other prefrontal cortex skill. It's just like seeing or hearing or touching or tasting. It is a capability of all of us as human beings. You need to be learning or trying to understand this is sometimes challenging. It's challenging because our mechanism of teaching, for instance, using language, is sort of almost defeated because the essence of the perennial philosophy is experience. So give yourself a break. It is lifelong. It's time to begin your adult education, the things they didn't teach you in school. And if I could help along the way and at least point in the right direction, I would be more than happy to do that. You have yourself a great day.